Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. And now, live from the Long Branch in downtown Pierre, it's award-winning KCCR Sports Director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here to the Long Branch as another edition of Coach's Corner, as we will talk with Coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governor football team as they get set for the state semifinal matchup against Aberdeen Central. We'll also talk with Coach Tiffany Stosher of the Pierre Governor volleyball team as they are getting ready for the Sodak 16. They'll know their opponent coming up later on this week and into the weekend. And then we'll also talk with Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. They get ready for their state semifinal matchup against Faulkton area. That is on Friday as well. We step aside, we'll come back and have our conversation with Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors. You're listening to Coach's Corner live for the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to downtown Pierre and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner, Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pierre Street, downtown Pierre.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner. They will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Oahe Federal Credit Union member? At Oahe Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Oahe Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Oahe Federal Credit Union.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to the Long Branch, joining me is Coach Steve Steele as we contemplate falling back time here this weekend. Make sure you set your clocks back. Most phones do it for you anyway. But, Coach, it's good to talk to you again, and it's good to be at home on Friday night as the Pierre Governors take on Aberdeen Central in the state semifinal game. Your first initial thoughts before we talk about the game from Friday, your initial thoughts on, I know we talked actually, I shouldn't say initial, now as you get a week forward, being able to play Aberdeen Central at home instead of having to go on the road.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of competitive advantage, it's definitely nice to be able to be at home, in the semifinals. It's good to have home field advantage for your crowd. You obviously are going to have more people usually show up at a home game than you will traveling 3 hours. So there's a lot of competitive advantage. I think a lot of our guys and our coaches at the same point were a little disappointed we didn't get to go and try and avenge that loss. But at the same point in time, the goal remains the same, and the goal wasn't to avenge that loss. It was to get back and finish what we started.
And that's the fun and the hard thing to do is because you don't want to choose your opponents, because that's where things go south, is when you say we'd rather play this team than that team. You'll take whatever it is, but you are happy to be at home here on Friday.
Yeah, that's the part that doesn't change. We obviously wish we would have been home because we just won all of our games. But at the same point, we're still there. We still get to play a home game in the semifinal, and a home game that puts us in the state championship again. So it's still going to be a lot of fun here.
So as we get set for this game on Friday against Aberdeen Central, 7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30 pregame. Let's go back to that game last Friday against Watertown, and one team that you struggled to stop in that first game when you won 52-42, and didn't struggle in that second game. You only allowed 9 points. First play from scrimmage for Watertown went for a touchdown. No other offensive points for the Watertown Arrows. That's going to be, for a defense, that's going to be put a smile on their face and kind of reinforce, like, hey, this is good.
Yeah, and I think that shows you the amount of work and effort that our coaching staff put into those different adjustments. And I said that first play we kind of rolled with what we did before and said, all right, well, let's see if they can do it again. And then once they did, we're like, all right, well, now let's move on to the next thing. And the next thing worked. So, our guys on the defensive side of the ball did an outstanding job game planning and just making sure that they put our kids in the best position to succeed. And then the kids did a great job executing.
And now you face this Aberdeen Central team who, at first, it looked like it was going to be a blowout when you guys played them back in Week 8. You're up 32-0. You were that close away from having a running clock in the second half. And then they started to come back on you. You got all the way to 10 points. It's still a two-score game, but they pulled back within 10, ended up winning 52-35. It's almost like looking at two different games when you look at film, probably. You look at what you did really well in that first 18 minutes of the game, and then what didn't go so well in the next 18 minutes or so of that game. Is that how you kind of look at it in almost two different games?
Yeah, in a sense. I think that first the first half was really interesting just because we actually kicked off, and then they fumbled, and we got it, and then scored, so we got a 2-for-1. And then they did the surprise onside in the second half, the 2-for-1. So a lot of things kind of canceled. It was kind of funny that you saw that, the football luck kind of balance. We had a fumbled snap that resulted in a touchdown. They had a fumbled snap that resulted in a touchdown. So a lot of the different things that you could go and say, well, Pierre was only up 32 because they got this. Well, they also got those to come back. And at the same point from our guys saying, well, Aberdeen only came back because they did this. Well, that's kind of also how we built that lead. It was a pretty equal game in a lot of ways. I think just initially we came out on fire. We did execute very well on the offensive side of the ball, with the exception of that fumbled snap that we ended up doing good things with. But other than that, we really did execute well on offense and defense in that first quarter. So it's one of those things where, whoever can do that for the longer amount of time, this game is going to be the one that's going to pull it out.
I think a couple of keys in that game, no Gavin Stotts, so when you guys played in Week 8, no Brady Getz, and then Christian Bush got hurt, who is now, I believe, going to be back and ready to go and was back last week. But those are three big names for you guys to feel even better about playing this game against Aberdeen Central again.
Yeah, it was crazy, and we didn't have Cole Peterson was another one in that game.
Right.
So, that was another big difference in the kicking game. Missing 3 extra points, and then, just not getting quite the depth that we were used to on the kickoff. So it's just a lot of different things went were struggles for us that game, and some of them forced, some of them just from not having people available. So it'll be a little bit more comfortable for our guys and our personnel this week, kind of having everyone able to play and at our disposal.
Now, I say all that stuff, and everybody's probably thinking, well, boy, Pierre's going to roll through this game and get to the state championship. That's not the case. You still got to go out and perform well because there their running game has been good. Their passing game, Sam Rolfs is a good runner and passer. But what did you see when they played Brookings last Thursday? What did you see? What was so successful about them to be able to knock off that 2 seed and win a 7-2 matchup?
Well, they ran the ball exceptionally well. I think they had almost 400 yards rushing. Their running back runs really, really hard. He's a really good running back. I think he had 35 carries for almost 300 yards. And then their quarterback's kind of the one they look to for the big plays. They let their running back eat up clock and eat up carries and eat up yards. But usually their big plays came from their quarterback on some misdirections or some design scrambles because he's the one that's got the wheels. I think he had 10 or 11 carries for 100-something yards. So they really didn't have to throw the ball too much on Brookings. But, I think some of that was by design, too. They wanted Aberdeen was able to establish a lead in that game, and then they just wanted to kind of drag it out and slow it down and make it the fewest amount of possessions as possible.
And they ended up winning 42-34, and I don't believe they ever trailed. Whenever they were tied, Brookings tied the game up, and Aberdeen was able to go back down and score, which is probably a key for you guys to try and jump on them early again, is to maybe force them out of what their game plan might be of trying to control the clock again.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, if you can get up on a team that likes to run the football and likes to eat clock and limit possessions, then that really takes them out of their plan because then they can't afford to punt and they can't afford to not score, or then that possession stacks up, and it's really hard for a team like that to claw back, and that's kind of what you saw with Brookings on the flip side of that, because they're a very similar team in the sense that they like to run the football. They don't have that high-flying, we're going to go score every possession really fast, and that's one of the things they kind of got out of their game plan a little earlier. It was almost a battle of wills, and Aberdeen got Brookings to flinch first, and as soon as they kind of had to get away from their run game, that's when you saw that lead go to 2 possessions, and then they weren't quite able to recover from there.
Now, we talked about their running game, that they can pass the ball as well with Sam Rolfs, who they didn't use that as much last week. But when they played you in Week 8 and you guys played Watertown in Week 7, gave up quite a few points. But in that game against Watertown, where they like to throw the football, whether those DBs where the secondary was really good for you guys, and that's going to bring a lot of confidence in what might be another game where Sam Rolfs goes back and throws the ball a lot for Aberdeen Central.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think our D did a really good job of was our up front. They did a really good job not allowing Norberg last week to really escape the pocket. And that's going to be another crucial week this week to keep Rolfs in there and not let him get loose, because when he can get outside and create, he is so dangerous. And it's just really hard to ask your defensive backs to cover for what feels quite literally like an eternity. Anything past 3 or 4 or 5 seconds is just really, really long to be running around with a guy. So our defensive line had an outstanding week last week, and we'll need another one this week.
Talking with Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, as they are getting set for a state semifinal matchup between Aberdeen Central on Friday, 7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30 pregame here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We get to this point of the season. There's only 14 teams left, actually 18 teams. You include the All-Nation State Championships that will take place this week, but only 14 teams from Class 11 AAA down to 9B. You're one of those last 14. How special is it? The nights I guess the nights are getting longer. The days are getting a little bit shorter. Maybe you have to end practice a little bit earlier, or you're getting it closer to the end of having to maybe. I know the game field is usually the state championship week, but having that opportunity again for these guys to play and practice so late into a day and start to see daybreak has got to be pretty, or I guess nightfall, got to be pretty special.
Yeah, it's always the goal. It's always a lot of fun, and there's no cutting things short. At this point, we've got to do what we've got to do. Our kids are all understanding to the point of, hey, you know what, we might get home a little bit later, but that's because we're making sure we've got everything covered to win on Friday night. Next week's a week that everyone wants to earn. Everyone wants to earn the game field practice weeks because we have a lot of fun on those, and we get the music blaring and we get the lights on, and it's just such a fun week. But we've got to earn it, and ultimately it doesn't matter. We said toss seeds, toss records, toss everything out the window. It comes down to one game, and we've got to be ready to play it.
Lincoln Keynoles broke some records last week and could continue to break some records this week. Jack Merklon the same way with yards receiving and touchdowns. And we mentioned it last week, but we'll touch on it again this week, that the special how special those guys are, but not just those two guys, but how special this team is, especially because you don't see a passing team like you do in high school football, like you do with the Pierre Governors. You just don't see it very often. And to have the success throwing the ball as you guys have had this year has been a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you.
Didn't. Yeah. Go ahead and expand on that now.
It's been a lot of fun, though. It's been a really fun group of guys to coach, and it's really cool just to see. I mean, we returned really one starter on offense, with that being Lincoln. So I mean, when you imagine, Jack had started a game or two. Brady Getz had started a game or two, but was hurt for some of the season. And other than that, I mean, we've pretty much got a brand new crew of starters. And anytime you're trying to fill 10 starting positions on one side of the ball, it's always going to be kind of what's going to happen. What's going to emerge? What kind of team are we going to be? And you could say the same thing about our defense. I think we're returning 2 and 9 are new coming into the season. So anytime you have that, you just aren't quite sure. And it's been so much fun to see the growth of these kids and just see them come just blow past any potential expectations anyone put on us from, oh, they're so young, this is the year they're not going to be very good, to, wow, we did some pretty amazing things.
And, with T. Area and Yankton playing here as well in that state semifinal game, obviously we mentioned that you don't want to pick and choose who you play, but that game is also a little interesting because I think that game could go either way. This is 11 AA has been wide open pretty much since the start of the season, and we're kind of seeing that here with the 3 versus 7 matchup, and then also that 1-4, and you're not really saying, well, that 1 seed's definitely going to get the win.
Yeah, well, and they didn't play each other in the regular season. Those were the 2 teams T didn't play from AA, were us and Yankton. And, it's going to be another interesting thing because I'd say outside of ourselves and Watertown to some degree, I mean, Yankton's the other one that can really throw the football and plays kind of that different style of offense. So it's going to be a really interesting game. I hope we're really combing through it with a fine-tooth nail because that means we're playing and, we obviously got to watch whoever wins, from their perspective. But, yeah, it should be a really good game to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, 11 AA is wide open, and the Pierre Governors are one of those teams that is looking to win a 5th state championship. And like you mentioned, too, that I think going in this year, there's a lot of people saying, well, this is 4 is where it's going to end. Maybe next year you guys will be back, but this year not so much. And now you're 1 game away from get a home game, 1 game away from going back to the state championship. What would that mean, with I know you probably don't care about what people say and the talk around the state of what the Pierre Governors would or wouldn't do this year, but what would it mean to you personally to be able to get back to the state championship for a 5th straight year and have an opportunity to win a 5th straight state championship?
I think what it would mean is this: it would just show where we're at as a program. It shows that, even when we get to these years where we don't have a lot of guys coming back, I mean, there's so much pride and work ethic in these kids. I'd be so happy and proud of these seniors. The ones that everyone's like, all right, well, how does it feel? You guys are going to be the ones that let it down. You guys are going to be the ones that don't get back. And, for them to fight through this season, injuries aplenty and all the other stuff going on, replacing dang near everybody that played, we have an opportunity to do that still. And, that's a pretty cool thing for these seniors and a pretty cool thing for this coaching staff, for what all of them have added in and helped us create. And, it's that point where tradition is starting to overcome talent.
Yeah, and the Pierre Governors have the opportunity to do that again. 7 o'clock at kickoff, 6:30 a pregame here coming up on Friday night. So we'll have it here on KCCR. You can watch it on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We'll talk with Coach Tiffany Stocher here in just a moment. But how exciting is this Pierre volleyball team been all season? And they have a chance to host a Sodak 16 next Thursday.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So we haven't had that chance. I'm trying to think if we've had it in my 6 years here. I don't know if we've had. Well, I know the Sodak 16 wasn't a real thing when I moved here. But since it's been a real thing, we haven't had a chance for that. So, I said this is such a fun community to host these types of events because everyone gets behind it. It'll be a packed house Friday night. It'll be a packed house next Thursday.
Yep, next Thursday.
Yep. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to get these. And, I said it's a lot of fun when we can get those games here and then, pull them off and win them and go to state tournaments because I don't think there's a better place that travels to state tournaments than Pierre.
Absolutely. And before I do let you go, what's the number one thing for you guys to get a win Friday night and go to the Dakota Dome next Friday?
We've got to get them off the field. We got to put them in a hole. If we can get up early on them, get them out of their game plan, I think we'll be going back.
Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, good luck on Friday. We'll talk before the game on Friday. Actually, we'll talk tomorrow again. I always mess up how when we're going to
get yourself a little list.
Yeah.
Put a sticky note on your
right,
computer.
I was going to say, we'll talk tomorrow with our NFL picks. You're tied for first place, along with me and DT. But you're tied for first place. We'll have NFL picks coming up about 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock tomorrow with Coach Steve Steele. Coach, I appreciate the time as always, and good luck on Friday.
Thanks, John.
Head coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governors, as we will return and we will talk with head coach of the Pierre Governor volleyball team and Coach Tiffany Stoscher. You're listening to Coach's Corner. Pierre Governor style of Coach's Corner right now here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports, live from the Long Branch.
Dale and DT here for the LB.
You know, Dale, the Long Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you have got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout-out for their wings. Some of the days they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street in downtown Pier.
There wasn't always a windmill in Millbank or a vinegar museum in Roslyn. Someone had to paint the graffiti mural on the Turtle Creek Spillway. And before First Dakota filed the first charter in 1872, you couldn't bank in South Dakota. Every timeless institution, tradition, and thriving business was started somewhere by someone who had a dream and the passion to make it happen first. What will be your South Dakota first? Visit firstdakota.com/first. Member FDIC.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all, online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
When you want the best prices and best selection, go to Wagner Auto in Pierre. The certified sales staff at Wagner Auto will provide you service after the sale and how to get easy financing. Check out their website, WagnerAuto.com, or stop in. They have the best prices and won't be undersold. Wagner Auto has the region's largest selection with over 280 new and quality pre-owned vehicles. GM certified pre-owned vehicles give you peace of mind with their 12-month or 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty and 5-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Log on to WagnerAuto.com or stop by Wagner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota's oldest auto dealer since 1907.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to the Long Branch, as we are joined here with Coach Tiffany Stoscher of the Pierre Governor volleyball team, and after a loss last night to close out the regular season, Coach, you've fallen back into 5th place, but at this point, you know, can't look back, and now looking for the Sodak 16, basically 24 hours after the game last night, your overall thoughts being this far away from it?
Yeah, you know, honestly, there's some relief. There's some anxiety that's relieved. You know, we've been wondering where we're going to end up. We win last night, we're in 3rd, we lose, so now we're in 5th. You know, if you told me at the beginning of the season, hey, we're not going to play any games, we're just going to give you that 5th spot, I would have jumped at it. I have to remember what we were thinking at the beginning of the season, what our goals were, which were a home Sodak, and top 5 was a stretch, but we really wanted it. And here we are. You know, it's the end of the season, and when I'm looking at the group of teams, those top 16 that I'm looking at right now, anybody could have been 3rd. and we held on to it for a long time. So I'll take top 5, and now we know, and so we can get focused on postseason.
Yeah, and that was the one question I was going to ask here. The next question was, going into the night, you didn't want to be 15-5. You wanted to be 16-4. But now that you've kind of got that after the game's over, you 15-5. Yes, it stings, but to have a 15-5 season, that's a really, really good mark for the Pierre Governors.
Yeah, it really is. It's a turnaround. It's last year I think we were 7-13, and so it's an improvement. It's a not to say anything, negative against anything about last year. It's just it's a change in mentality. It's a winning attitude, and it's something that took all of the girls on the team. And so top 5 in the AA, when you're looking at these large schools that we're playing against, I think they should be pretty proud of themselves.
And right now, as we were just kind of mentioning, if seeds hold out and everybody wins as they should, or potentially even maybe one upset, looks like the Pierre Governors will have the least travel to Rapid City in that state tournament. Obviously, you got to get there, but that would be interesting to see everybody from the eastern side of the state have to go over to the western side of the state. And here, the Pierre Governors, no matter where the state tournament's at, you're going to have to travel for it, but would have the least amount of travel to go.
Yeah, that eastern side of the state, is out in those top 8, and it just so happens state's in Rapid this year. So, yeah, we'd have the short for once. We'd have the shortest trip. So we'll take it.
I was going to say, to say the Pierre Governors have the shortest trip, that never, ever happens, and that might that potentially could happen. But that's, we're still 8 days away from the SODAC 16. Right now would be Yankton if nothing changes. And obviously you can kind of see what might happen and kind of see, well, if this team wins, this will happen. If this team loses, this will happen. We might see this team win. We might see this team lose. You kind of see how things will shake out, but not entirely sure until after it all happens. So how do you handle this next couple of days, from Wednesday through Saturday, before you actually know who your opponent's going to be? How do you handle it?
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time on ourselves, some things that we need to do defensively. Going back to last night, and I told the girls that it's time to look ahead now. There's nothing we can do about last night. I thought that we could have won that game. I thought that if we played defense a little bit better, if we were more excited about things, if we were a little more mentally focused going in, that things would have looked different. So we've got some things to work on in terms of defense, watching their hitters, getting into spots on time. And we're going to spend a lot of time on that tomorrow and Friday, and then get right to business on Monday for whoever we play.
And that Jefferson team, they're still under 500 at this point, but if you restart the season and have the chemistry that this Jefferson team has, and have the familiarity that they now have, that's probably a top 5 team as well. They are playing probably as good as any AA team in volleyball in the state right now.
Absolutely. You saw them play Washington and take them to 5, and everybody knows how good Washington is, and they're knocking off teams left and right. Now they've found their groove, and they're young. You've got to keep an eye on Jefferson for the next few years. They are good. We lost to a very good team, and everybody gets wrapped up in we're 3rd and they're 11th and how bad that looks. I'm telling you, they will. If they're not in the top 8, I pick them to go and surprise somebody.
Yeah, and the way that AA volleyball is right now, 11th spot is still a pretty good spot, because you look at the Huron Tigers and where they're at. They were able to upset you guys early in the year. They're a good volleyball team that could easily, a given night could either lose in the SODAC 16 and could win in that SODAC 16 spot. And really we were talking about a little bit last night too. That 1 and 2 seed seems to be a lock in terms of who their opponent is. 3 through everybody else. I don't think it's a lock in the SODAC 16.
No, I don't think so. Roosevelt's up there in 3 and Brandon Valley's in 4, but Brandon Valley has another game to play, and so they're close. That could be a switch. I think we're pretty solid in the 5 spot right now. I'm confident enough that Yankton's pretty solid in that 12, that then I'm going to start scouting and start watching some of their most recent games, and they play tomorrow night, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. Confident enough that those are pretty solid, but like you said, there's going to be some jumping around. The way it looks, Jefferson is either going to go to Huron or Huron's going to go to Jefferson, and that's a game neither of them want to play. that fight for home court of that game is big.
And like we're talking with Coach Steele, you don't want to pick your opponent. You don't want to say we rather play this team than that team. But there's some teams that you say we really don't want to play those teams. I think Jefferson is one of those teams that everybody's saying anybody but them. If we have to be at home against them, that's not. We don't really feel comfortable with that.
Right. It's hard to play somebody you just played. And Yankton wasn't that far off. You think you know exactly what they're going to do and that you're prepared, but so are they. And it seems like when we had Yankton back-to-back within 8 days or whatever, that didn't go well for us. One time we sweep them, the next time we can't. We go 4 sets and they beat us, and that can turn back and forth. So, if we have a team like Watertown or some Rapid City Stevens or someone we saw early, a lot has changed since then for both teams. And it'd be a little bit more of a competition that's not so mental. It'd be an all-out physical battle, but you have to start scouting and looking at the mental game when you play someone you just played.
You're listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront Broadcasting Station. We talk with Coach Tiffany Stocher of the Pierre Governor Volleyball team. SODAC 16 is next Thursday. The Governors will host their opponent, and the time of the match is yet to be determined, but we'll have it here on KCCR and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Once you know who your opponent is, and like you said, you have a good feeling of who it's going to be, but once you know exactly who it is, it's probably going to be you're digging in everything is focused on that one opponent. You're not worried about who you might see in the state tournament in the first round. You're going saying Yankton or whoever it might be. You're saying that's the team we're focused on. That's the only team we're going to be focused on from out until Thursday.
Yep, that's all we're talking about too. We visited as a group tonight. Fresh start for us. We want to eliminate some distractions. There's all the fun and all the dress up and the decorations and stuff that come with senior night and Dig Pink, and that's good, but we're not going to do any of that. We're not dressing up the locker room with streamers. We're not doing a bunch of fancy snacks. We are there for one thing and one thing only, and that's to win that next Thursday game.
Yeah, and that would qualify the Governors for the state tournament, which would be in Rapid then the following weekend on that Thursday through Saturday. And, of course, if the Governors do make it, we'll have games on the radio on KCCR and KCCRradio.com. As you get ready for this, and you had senior night last night, and Jenna Bush and Addison Cumbo, your two seniors, and you talked about those in the pregame interview, just how important they've been to the success of this team, whether the stats are there or not. They have done the little things right, and they've done the little things that don't show up on a stat sheet to help this team be at 15-5.
They absolutely have. I couldn't have picked better leaders, and I always say the people that just don't. They don't have to talk about how good they're doing or how good they are. They just show it every day, and that's what those two do. I mean, we talked about what our goals are now. We're setting new goals. At the beginning of the season, we had what we wanted, where we wanted to be at the end of the regular season, and we achieved that, and they did well. And now it's new stuff, and Jenna she said, I want to play the best we've ever played. And we talked about, we had a 12:01 a.m. practice. We wanted to be the first team on the court, and we want to be one of the last ones off at the state tournament. And so that's still the goal. And those two set the goals today, and I'll be darned if they don't do it.
I like that. You're the first one on the court. I want to be the last ones on the court when it comes to the state tournament. That's a good look, and those are smart young women that have a good head on their shoulders, thinking about that and thinking about a big picture like that.
Yep. Those two. And the other thing that they both talk about is relationships, and they always will matter. They will always matter. If our team didn't get along and get excited about every point, you see the pictures of people take, and there's constant cheering, and on KCCR pictures and everywhere. Every picture just shows the excitement and how close they are as a team, and so that comes with building relationships, and we have those two to credit for that.
Yeah, and it's not on the court, it's on the bench. You see some of the excitement, even maybe sometimes more excitement on the bench, and from the coaching staff all the way down to that last girl on the bench, the excitement on any given point is that makes volleyball a lot of fun, but it also makes this Pierre Governor team a lot of fun.
I think so. I think that excitement's contagious, and the girls started it, and now look at that gym. It's pretty awesome.
And that's the other thing too is I mentioned it this morning, and I mentioned it to other people that I've talked to, is that was the best crowd I've seen in Pierre Governor volleyball, and that's one of the best crowds I've seen for Pierre Governors since pre-COVID times, and even probably from 2019 before that too. I think that was one of the best crowds that we saw, and I feel pretty strongly that we'll see even a better crowd next week Thursday in that SODAC 16 game.
I hope so. I tell you what, it means a lot to the girls. It means a lot to the coaches, and seeing that sea of green, like Coach Steele just said, that Pierre travels well. They absolutely do. They'll come out. When we got something to celebrate, they'll be there.
And we'll talk again next Wednesday, and that when we will know exactly who the opponent is, and we'll dive in deeply of how you're going to be able to get that win and how you're going to be able to defend and attack that team, whoever it might be, if it's Yankton again or whoever it is. But before we get to that point, and what's going to be a reason why the Pierre Governors win the SODAC 16 even without knowing their opponent? What's going to be a big reason for them to win this SODAC 16?
There's nobody more hungry than this group of girls. It's just been too long. Pierre in general hasn't had a home SODAC, basketball, volleyball, anything since it started. When they say they want to change the culture, I've never seen a group more serious. So it's going to mean everything to these athletes. I think we had, like I told you, we had over 100 girls that are, this is changing what females in sports looks like. And if we can get more kids involved in whatever activity it is, and we support them as a community, they're making changes, and I think it's been a good thing for our community. Yeah, and one quick thing here, too, is that you had Little Govs Camp that finished out tonight, and like you mentioned, over 100 girls that are looking to play some volleyball, and that is a huge number, which can be stressful at times when you're out there, but to be able to look at that and see all those numbers, man, that is so special to see that. The coolest thing was at the end of today, the little girls, and there's 125 of them. That's how many we had signed up.
Wow.
They wanted all of our 9th through 12th to make a tunnel for them to run through, which is the same thing we've been given with the peer student section and now grade school and middle school section. And just that excitement to feel like if I make varsity someday, if I play for them, if I stay with it that long, I get to be a part of something like this. The tunnel's a big deal. It's awesome, and that stuff's spreading, so it's pretty cool to see.
The Pierre Governors will play in the SODAC 16 next week, Thursday. The time and the team is still to be determined, but the Governors will host, and it'll be at Riggs High School. We'll have it on KCCR and on YouTube to watch at KCCR Sports, but we do encourage everyone to come out, bring the earbuds along and stream us and listen to us while the game's going on. It's going to be kind of hard to hear because that gym can get really loud and get really loud quickly, but really looking forward to seeing you guys play next Thursday and seeing that big crowd and seeing this Governor team compete in the SODAC 16. I'm really looking forward to next Wednesday, being able to talk to you again because we're going to be one day away from the SODAC 16, but you'll have a couple of days of practice preparing for that team, and really, really excited about it feels like postseason volleyball is never going to get here. I don't want the season to end, but it just felt like it was never going to get here, and now it still feels like next Thursday is not going to get here. But SODAC 16, and finally the end of the season comes here, and I'm really excited for how the postseason is going to turn out.
Yeah, and we really appreciate the coverage. Any other town we go to doesn't have coverage like this, and I don't know how many times I've watched the 5th set of Harrisburg on the video on the live feed from you guys. So when I need a pick-me-up, I'll turn that on. So I really appreciate the coverage. It's been awesome.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here at the last several Wednesdays, and as long as we've as many times as you've been on here, and looking forward to a couple more times talking to you. Really looking forward to next week Wednesday. Coach, I appreciate the time, and have fun at practice the next couple of days.
We'll do that. Thanks, John.
Coach Tiffany Stosher, the Pierre Governors, as we will return and talk with Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live for the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. The LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evenings.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner. They will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
At Avera Health Plans, health insurance is more than just coverage. It's about making connections. We connect you with quality health care so you're covered when you need it. To health coaches and nurses who help meet your health goals. And to a quality network of providers, specialists, and 24/7 virtual care. Our focus is on your everyday well-being. Wherever you are along the journey, choose our health plan with connections. Connect with your agent or visit averahealthplans.com.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit gatewayfordtoyota.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR, live from the Long Branch. Joining me is Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers, who are playing in the state semifinal game on Friday as they take on the Faulkton area Trojans. And, Coach, before we get to that game, let's talk a little bit about Hitchcock-Tulare, that win for you guys on last Thursday to advance to the state semifinal, a 48-8 win. And boy, that was this Battler team. Your overall thoughts now, basically a week later, on that win?
Well, I was very happy with how the outcome is. Obviously, we started out a little bit slow, but we tend to do that from some of the games this year. But we built up momentum, and on Thursday was no different. Hitchcock-Tulare's got a very good team, and we knew it was going to be a very close game, and for the most part, it was that, early on. But I was very proud of our kids as far as how they stepped up and played, I would say, a complete game from about the early second quarter on.
Well, and one thing that we're going to lead into the Faulkton area here, we'll talk more about them specifically, but playing a Hitchcock-Tulare team that you played early in the part of the season, you won a close game, and then you come back and win a game by 40 points. And like you said, it was a close game early on, but you were able to drive up that point total and drive the margin of victory up there. That's going to give you some confidence. Faulkton area beat you all the way back at the beginning of the season. That's going to give you confidence to play a team better a second time than even a team that you beat. You played them better the second time than you did the first time.
Oh yeah, we've been very happy with that. The players have grown a huge amount over the year. As far as basically finding our identity. Early on with that Faulkton game to start out with, we were still trying to figure out exactly what kind of team we are. Whether a running team, passing team, which method of attack we're going to use and everything like that. But we've been growing that way, and we've been coming together as a team, lately, and it's showing out, in how we've been playing, against Hitchcock-Tulare. They've got a couple players that, in the first time we played them, had, 2-3 big plays each, and that was one of our goals coming into that game, was to make sure that we minimize the big plays and make them have to have long drives on the field and that. And our defense stepped up big for us and made a lot of key stops. Their running back had two big touchdown runs against us, the first time, and I think his longest run was maybe 6 yards, something like that, the other night, and I think we held him to somewhere around 40 yards rushing. So it was definitely key to how our defense stepped up and was able to stop those big plays.
All right, we've talked all the good things, and there's a lot of good things about what that game was against Hitchcock-Tulare with the 48-8 win. What was one thing that, even though, as every coach does, a 40-point win, you can still be better than that. You still find things to tweak and to get better. What was that one thing that needs to potentially be a little bit better going into Friday against Faulkton area?
Each and every one of us has to make sure each play that we're doing our part. There are times where we were close and missed blocks, or just was able to block just a little bit longer would have helped out a bunch. We had several passes that were within reach, and catches that I've seen kids make in practice that they didn't early in the game, against Hitchcock-Tulare. So there's a little bit of things like that I think we just need to clean up as far as our own things, and basically to help us play a complete game come Friday against Faulkton.
I was talking with Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. They will take on Faulkton area on a Friday up in Faulkton. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff for that state semifinal. The winner will advance to the Dakota Dome next week, Thursday, to play in the 9B championship game. You played Faulkton a little bit back in the season, the beginning of the season. First game of the year, you lost 36-18. An 18-point game. Some people might just look at that final score, but in total, it's a 2-touchdown game. There's a couple of conversions that made it a 3-score game, but it was a 2-touchdown game in that loss. Obviously, both teams have gotten better. Both teams have changed. When you look at film from that first week, and then you look at film of what they did against Harding County with a 48-22 win on Thursday last week to advance to the state semifinal, what's something that's changed? What's a big change that maybe Faulkton has had that you didn't see at the beginning of the season?
Well, I think they've fine-tuned some of the stuff that they do. They still run the ball really well. I think one of their strengths is the fact that their line play is definitely a plus for them, and they've expanded that. Put in a few more passing plays that typically are set up similar to runs, so that they can do those things off it. So whether it be screens or short passes, things of that nature that still uses that strength of their offensive line and getting out in front of their, whether it be running backs or receivers, and lead blocking, and that. So I think they've improved that quite a bit. Defensively, I think they throughout the year have played solid throughout. They're a team that a lot of times aren't going to make a whole lot of mistakes. So you have to earn what you're going to get against them, and I haven't seen a whole lot of change in that throughout the year. So I think they're going to be a solid football team. It's one of those we have to be consistent and make our plays be solid ones, and not necessarily worry about that every play has to be a touchdown, but every play has to be a positive result for us.
And talk with Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers, who will take on Faulkton area Trojans in the state semifinal game. The winner of that game will meet the winner of Avon and Del Rapids St. Mary in the 9B championship game. That would be next week, Thursday at 10 a.m. as the first game of the day on November 11th at the Dakota Dome. Be kicking off of that championship weekend for next week. But a team that you're familiar with, a team that you kind of see almost every single year, if not every year. The familiarity of having that team, one, it probably tends to maybe being able to scout them a little bit better and kind of know some of the things. Even if they show you something different on film, you still know about them. But on the reverse side is that they don't really know a whole lot of, they know all of the secrets that you guys would have too.
Oh yeah, Coach Gaditz and I have played her head games, almost every year for the last 20 plus years. So it's one of those. There's familiarity there, but I think he's got something up his sleeve, and we're going to have a little bit something of variations to bring out against them as well. I think you always have that that card up your sleeve that you're gonna pull out in certain situations, and that somewhat of a friendly rivalry between Potter County and Faulkton, because we have played so much each year and so forth. But the kids know each other. It's one of those where usually at this level or at this time of the year, if you're making a trip, you're making a long trip. It's a trip that our kids are used to making, and I think it's going to be one of those that should be an exciting game, just simply because it's the teams know each other, but yet both teams are playing well enough that they're going to be able to pull out some new things, and it's which team adjusts the fastest and the best, I guess, is going to be the come out ahead, I think.
And that's going to be a big thing for you guys too. Obviously, you love to be at home, rather be at home than having to go to Faulkton. But having that trip that you're familiar with doesn't give the same home field advantage as it would be to Del Rapids, St. Mary, if you had to travel to them, or somewhere out west, or all the way in the southeast corner of the state. Having that shorter of a drive, or at least a familiar drive, has got to eliminate some of that that some teams maybe get an opportunity to have this late in the postseason.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't have to pack up, and travel 4 or 5 hours or anything like that. It's going to be a less than an hour trip, and I think it should end up being a fun game just simply because of there's a lot on the line, but yet both teams know each other, and I think a lot of times you're going to have kids that anymore in today's society, they communicate over social media so much that they know each other, and a lot of times it makes you dig a little bit deeper because you know that kid across from you a little bit better, and you obviously don't want them to have bragging rights for a year's time against you or anything like that. So I think it'll be a fun game that way.
Potter County 9-2, Faulkton area 8-2. The 2-3 matchup in Faulkton on Friday nights as the Battlers will take on the Trojans. 7 o'clock kickoff in Faulkton as the Battlers will be trying to advance to the Class 9B state championship, which would be next week Thursday in the Dakota Dome. Coach, as we start to wrap things up here, one thing I want to ask is, it's starting to get dark a little bit earlier. You maybe have to turn the lights on for practice, or have a little bit, or you probably maybe don't end practice a little bit earlier to keep from getting too dark. But how much excitement is it to be playing at this time of the year? Because there are only 14 teams left in the entire state. The All Nations with their state championship game, so about 18 teams in total playing football at this point, practicing football leading up to this week. And to be one of those 18 teams and one of the 4 in Class B to be able to practice that night, that's got to be one that probably hits home to the coaches and the players.
It is. It's one of those where there's excitement. When you walk out to practice, there's the excitement. It's not like, oh gosh, we've been going at this for 3 months, and why do we have to keep doing this? There's an excitement as far as all the kids that are out there. They're looking forward to it. Last week we did some stretching and a little bit of going through, the mental part of it in the gym prior to going out in the rain and the mist and all that stuff. And this week has been just awesome as far as the temperatures being up there a little bit. Obviously by the time practices get done, the sun starts dropping a little bit. The temperature starts getting pretty cool. But for beginning of November, this is better than you can hope for as far as weather-wise and that. So I haven't heard too many complaints as far as the fact that we're still going. So
that's right.
That's a real awesome thing.
And Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. Coach, all right, one last question before I let you go. I'd like to ask it, what's that number one thing for you guys to get a win on Friday night and advance to the state championship?
I think, and this is going to sound a little bit strange, that we don't try and do too much. Early when I played them early in the year, we wanted to beat them so bad and start out a season on a good note and everything like that. But sometimes we try to do too much. So I think playing within ourselves and doing our job the best we possibly can, and trusting everybody around us, and I guess giving that the 100% team effort.
Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers as they take on Faulkton on Friday in the 9B semifinal. The winner will take on the winner of Avon and Del Rapids St. Mary in the Dakota Dome next week Thursday at 10 a.m. This kickoff on Friday is at 7 o'clock in Faulkton. Coach Vern Smith, I appreciate the time. It's good to talk to you again, and looking forward to the results of Friday night's game. Looking forward to a fun matchup, and good luck. Safe travels on Friday, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you very much. proud to be part of your broadcast.
Oh, we appreciate that as well. We'll be back to wrap up Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner, Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, downtown Pier.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in Central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
There wasn't always a windmill in Millbank or a vinegar museum in Roslyn. Someone had to paint the graffiti mural on the Turtle Creek Spillway. And before First Dakota filed the first charter in 1872, you couldn't bank in South Dakota. Every timeless institution, tradition, and thriving business was started somewhere by someone who had a dream and the passion to make it happen first. What will be your South Dakota first? Visit firstdakota.com/first. Member FDIC.
When you want the best prices and best selection, go to Wegner Auto in Pier. The certified sales staff at Wegner Auto will provide you service after the sale and how to get easy financing. Check out their website, WegnerAuto.com, or stop in. They have the best prices and won't be undersold. Wegner Auto has the region's largest selection with over 280 new and quality pre-owned vehicles. GM certified pre-owned vehicles give you peace of mind with their 12-month or 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty and 5-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Log on to WegnerAuto.com or stop by Wegner Auto in Pier, South Dakota's oldest auto dealer since 1907.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
At Avera Health Plans, health insurance is more than just coverage. It's about making connections. We connect you with quality health care so you're covered when you need it. To health coaches and nurses who help meet your health goals. And to a quality network of providers, specialists, and 24/7 virtual care. Our focus is on your everyday well-being. Wherever you are along the journey, choose our health plan with connections. Connect with your agent or visit averahealthplans.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
And we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch, as we want to say thank you to our coaches and Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, Coach Tiffany Stosher of the Pierre Governor volleyball team, and then Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers football team as they get set for the state semifinals. And the Pierre Governor state semifinal will be on the air right here on a KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports starting at 6:30 on Friday, 7 o'clock kickoff as they take on Aberdeen Central. We'll have Pierre volleyball next Thursday as they will play in the Sodak 16. That will be on the air around 20 minutes before first serve, and it'll be on YouTube at KCCR Sports as well as on the radio at KCCR. Again, thanks to the Long Branch for another week hosting us again, and we'll be back same time, same place next week Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30, right here at the Long Branch. Come on down and enjoy a good meal and a lot of fun here with Coach's Corner as we are here every Wednesday night. Again, thanks to our coaches. Back to same time, same place next week Wednesday. You've been listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch has been brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Birding Electric, Gales Gas, Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Owyhee Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner on KCCR is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. Join us every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 for Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch in Pierre or on air at KCCR or KCCRradio.com. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports